It is 11:46 p.m. I just got puked on, and then I put on lipstick. Let's do Friday Fives. So, since Ryan and I finally got around to filming our labor and delivery video again, if you haven't watched it, you can click the link at the end of this video or down below. I got a few questions thrown in there at the bottom, and there was actually a little bit of the story that I left out. I mean, we were rambling, just doing like free flow thought back and forth the way that we told the story. So there's a couple little things that I left out, and at the end I was like, when I was watching it back, I was like, oh man, I wish I included that. So I'm going to say it at the end of this video. Since there were questions in the comments, I figured why not do this Friday Fives off of the labor and delivery story. We're going to go at them fast. The first one was a good question, which was, what happened to the car? So if you remember, Ryan had to do screeching tires into the cul-de-sac and like did a little spin out thing, and I had the passenger door open with my legs aimed out so I could just deliver the baby straight shot into the birthing center. We were plucked out of the car into the wheelchair and then zoomed super fast into the birthing center, and the car remained there. I'm not even sure that it got turned off until after the baby was born. Everything that you would normally do with a labor and delivery, ours was backwards. So all the check-in things you do, parking your car, all those things, we went and delivered the baby first and then took care of all that business afterwards. That was a good question. Someone else pointed out, they said, oh, you delivered in your street clothes because, you know, usually you wear a gown. There was no time for a gown. There was no time to do anything other than pull my pants down, have 2 pushes, and deliver a baby. A couple other people asked, why was he so swollen, his red puffy eyes? He looked very different. If you see, in the midst of the labor and delivery video, I included a bunch of raw clips of me in the hospital, and like the one where he's on the little warming bed and he's screaming, you know, because he was just born, that newborn baby scream. He looks nothing like he does now. I looked at him when he was first born and I was like, whose baby is that? He didn't look anything like me or Ryan. But what I didn't know is that it was because he was just generally puffed up. Not only were his eyes and his lips were super swollen, he already has big luscious lips and they were huge right after he was born, but he had a general puffiness to his entire skin and he was just kind of water filled. So what I've learned since this experience that was explained to me by the doctors is that all babies as they're being delivered are kind of full of water, full of fluids, and as they go through the birth canal, it gets squeezed out of them. And because I did not birth that little boy, I instead burst that little boy into this world. He just came with all the fluid still there. So the swelling went down after a day or so, and now he's perfect. Another good question was, because I was GBS positive and I didn't get the penicillin drip 4 hours before as we had planned, did they make the baby have to take the penicillin or did I have to take it after he was born? And no, I didn't. They did have us stay and be monitored for 48 hours rather than just the 24. The way that my birthing center works is they ask you to stay a full 24 hours, which I don't mind because they have lactation consultants and all the helpful nurses and everyone on hand and delicious food, so it's a nice little break for us. We like going to the hospital. But because I was GBS positive, they wanted me to stay 48 hours, which normally is just optional for the mothers instead of required. So we stayed 48 hours, and they did testing on him, and as soon as they got the all clear, then we were sent home. Someone asked if I was worried about how the fast delivery was going to affect Luca, and no, I wasn't worried because there was no time for me to formulate a thought like that, especially not a coherent thought like that. Anything that I thought about the delivery was after it had already happened. Remember, it was 13 minutes from when I told Ryan, just drive, instead of buckling me in like he wanted to do so, to when I had a baby in my arms. So there were no other thoughts in my head other than cave woman sounds, a few choice swear words, and I do remember thinking, this is going to be a natural birth for sure. There's not going to be any question about whether I want an epidural or not. I knew it was going to happen fast. I knew there was no chance of like stopping and slowing down and let's consider our options. That wasn't going to happen, but that's the only thought I remember having before I had a baby in my arms. That kind of leads to the next question, which is, given this birth experience, am I going to change or alter any future children that we plan to have, our birth plans for them? And I probably will. I will definitely be discussing it with my OBGYN, who I do love. I don't know right now. I mean, I just had him 2.5 months ago. I'm still sort of processing those 13 minutes now, so I haven't yet thought about what we're going to do for future deliveries, but it will definitely be a part of our future deliveries planning story. A bunch of you guys kind of teasingly asked, how did I look so good after delivering a baby? And I gotta say, I will take that one. Normally I blame my cameras and everything, but it was the same way after Scarlett's delivery. You know how they say that you know, newly pregnant mothers just glow and have that effervescent look to them. I think I save up all my effervescence till the actual delivery day, because both Scarlett's delivery and Luca's delivery, I've looked back at the pictures and I'm like, man, I look like I stopped and said, okay, makeup, hair, could somebody touch me up a little first before I make my debut with my new person in my arms? I don't know. I think that, like, I don't know, all of the energy that I have to put into delivering a baby maybe drains the blood from my face and therefore evens out my skin tone. I don't know. But if I can, I'll include some pictures of right after I delivered Scarlett too. I like it. Apparently, if I want to do a photo shoot, I should just squeeze out a kid real quick. Okay, so I think that's the main questions that I got asked over and over again. Now, here's my little side story. When we were driving, Ryan forgot to mention this, but he actually did call our doctor's assistant nurse, Tanisha, to let her know that we were coming. And because he was in go survival mode of what was happening and neither of us really had any time to process what was going on, I was, remember, hovering in the car, pressing my arm into the console and wearing a hole. I mean, I was leaving blood on the console of how hard I was pressing my entire body weight on that, and screaming and swearing and saying all the cliche things. I know at one point I said, get him out. I said everything that they say in the movies and stuff like that. And Ryan said he had never heard my voice hit that level. Well, while I was doing that in the passenger seat next to him, this is Ryan on the phone. Hi, my wife is a patient of Dr. So-and-so, and we think she's in labor. And I don't even remember him talking like that at all. But I went to my 6-week checkup, and Tanisha, who is the one who he spoke to on the phone, who is our doctor's nurse, her main, assistant, she said that it was hilarious because he didn't recognize it was Tanisha on the phone. He just thought it was like the admin lady at the front desk. And she could hear me in the background going, like that. And Ryan's just going, hello. My wife, Marie, we think she's in labor, and we're driving. Like, he was so calm. She said she knew immediately, like, oh my gosh, Marie never sounds like that. If that's her, it's time. So she actually, before we even called and said we were at the hospital, before the labor and delivery team let our doctor know we were there, she told our doctor, get to labor and delivery, Marie's on her way, and she's there, this baby's coming. And Tanisha even told me later, she was like, normally I don't have the authority to tell somebody whether they should go to labor and delivery or not, but when I heard you screaming like that, I was like, everybody go. And it was the right decision. So I thought that was funny. When I came in for my postpartum checkup at 6 weeks, the entire office was buzzing about it. A bunch of the hospital staff has been like, oh, you're the one who almost didn't make it. So Luca is a little legend already. Okay, that's it for this week's Friday Fives. Go ahead and leave me questions for next week, and I will see you soon. Of course, I'll have more videos in the middle as well. Bye, guys!